Welcome and thank you for joining us for today's Dealer On webinar, How to Optimize Your Marketing with Google Analytics. My name is Eliana Raggio and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by DealerOn. For anyone who isn't familiar with DealerOn, well, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency, best known for our amazing SEO, the absolute best customer service, and the highest converting website designs in the industry, including the brand new Chameleon responsive website platform. We're so committed to lead conversion, optimization, and customer service that DealerOn is still the only company in the industry brave enough to offer a money-back lead guarantee program. Does your website company guarantee you a 50% lift in leads or your money back? Yeah, I didn't think so. Maybe you should check us out at our gorgeous brand new DealerOn website at DealerOn.com. And we have a great show in store for you today. We are so very pleased to have the one and only Kevin Frye as our presenter today. Kevin Frye is the e-commerce director of the Jeff Wyler Automotive family, one of the top 50 dealership groups in the United States. Named as one of the top 5 influencers changing the automotive industry today by Automotive News, he has been a leader in the industry with the use of Google Analytics, data privacy, video SEO, social media, mobile, website design, and managing your online reputation. Before his work with Jeff Wyler, Kevin was an independent business owner who pioneered selling cars online for both dealerships and individual consumers, selling over 500 cars on eBay in 1 year alone. Kevin was a naval aviator for 8 years with extensive flight hours in Desert Shield and Operation Southern Watch, as well as over 200 combat hours in Desert Storm. He has used the leadership skills he's learned in this Navy to help keep the Jeff Wyler Automotive family at the front edge of automotive e-commerce. Kevin is an accomplished speaker, and he can be reached at kevin.frye@jeffwyler.com. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, don't worry. We're going to try to respond to you by email later today. Also, don't forget, a link to download a copy of this webinar recording will also be emailed to you later today for your reference, and please feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues. And guess what? Our good friend Kevin Frye is going to be giving away an awesome prize today on the webinar. In true Kevin Frye form, one of you lucky webinar attendees is going to win a vintage Scooby-Doo lunchbox. That is totally legit. This sweet, sweet prize is from 1973, and you will look oh so stylish walking into work with this bad boy. You have to be on the live broadcast to win it, though, so stay tuned, and you could be the one winning this amazing prize today. Also, at the conclusion of the webinar, you're going to receive a short survey. So please fill it out because we're always looking for quality feedback from our audience. Today, we're going to randomly select a couple of people from all the completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. And hey, do you tweet much? We hope you do. We'd love to see what you have to say about today's presentation. So please tag us in it. Tweet now, tweet often. Use hashtag DealerOnWebby. I'm at Eliana Raggio. You can also hit up Kevin at KevinFrye1. We look forward to seeing what you're saying. So let's get started. Let's learn how to optimize your marketing with Google Analytics. K. Frye, how the heck are you?
Well, I got to confess, I forgot all about this prize thing, so I guess I got to give up my prize Scooby-Doo lunchbox now. Fortunately, I'll make sure to take my sandwich and my thermos out before I send it on to the lucky winner of today's prize award there.
I think every one of us needs one of those in order to bring our Scooby-Doo snacks with us, our Scooby snacks, you know what I mean?
Oh.
But we have a lot of people saying hi. Of course, we just recently, all of us, celebrated Veterans Day. So on behalf of me and everyone else on this call, thank you, sir, for your service. We do appreciate you.
Well, thank you, Eliana, and everyone should also note that Eliana was in the Navy at the same time as me. We actually lived within about 3 blocks of each other in Hawaii, but never realized it till a few years ago at Digital Dealer.
That's true. That's true. Thank you so much. And we both neither have gone back to Hawaii since we've gotten out either. So we were just talking about how we need to get back there. But before we do that, we do have to talk about some Google Analytics, which is one thing. I'm totally segueing. Did you like that segue? That was awful, wasn't it? I am totally thinking that if there's one thing that dealers in the automotive industry are not, I mean, they know it's important, but they're not really utilizing it to the most that they can, is Google Analytics. And it's such a useful tool. And I have to say, dare I say, I'm not very good with Google Analytics either. So I think it's something that every dealership can gain knowledge from and really have it be one of their best friends. So I'm so glad you're here talking to us today. We have not done a lot of webinars on Google Analytics, and certainly this would be our first on how Google Analytics can actually help you with your marketing. So I know you have a lot to get to. Where do we begin?
Well, I'll say this. First off, it's a very timely topic because I'm willing to bet that probably 80-90% of the people on the webinar today are working on their 2016 digital marketing plans. And I have some great news. I'm going to teach you how to optimize that marketing mix with Google Analytics. And I'm going to do it in a step-by-step format that's going to make it pretty simple. It is going to have some advanced concepts, but I think I do a pretty good job of taking those down, put them into a simple format that'll be useful for everyone. So I'm ready to go forward. Can I go ahead, Eliana?
Absolutely. Take it away.
Well, I'm going to start out with and share a story, and this is a picture from Lake Moraine in Canada, right outside Banff. Absolutely a beautiful area.
Gorgeous.
Sean Stapleton's, oh, it's beautiful. Recommend that I go up there. That is not photoshopped. The water is that blue. I've never seen anything like that. And I'm sitting here with my son Noah, who's 16 in a picture, and the story that I share is I have a daughter that's a little bit older. When she turned 16, we got her a car. But when my son turned 16, he expected a car, and we didn't get one for him. And when I share this story, it's probably going to make a little bit more sense why, because we didn't feel he was ready. Because one night, Noah approached my wife, Julie, and I, and he asked if he could borrow my wife's nice new Honda CR-V to go down to the gym, and we said sure. So he went down, and he came back about an hour and a half later. But when he came back, he was worked up, he was nervous, something was wrong, and he's like, Dad, something's wrong with the car, all the lights are on. And I said, well, what are you talking about? You mean like the check engine lights on? He goes, no, all the lights are on. I'm like, well, let me go down and take a look. So I put the key in the ignition, and he wasn't kidding. Every single alert light you could imagine was on in the car. I never seen anything like it. So I immediately went into dad mode. I'm like, all right, what were you doing with your mother's car? Were you doing burnouts? Were you flooring it? I mean, straight up, what were you doing? And he started arguing, I didn't do anything. And within a matter of 5 minutes, this was a full-blown fight. You don't trust me in anything. Boom, boom, boom. Slams down the hall. Door shuts behind him.
Really?
Well, oh, it gets better. It gets better, Eliana. I come in the next morning. I come in early. Maybe it's my Navy upbringing, and I start my day with my dailies. And one of the things I do is Google Alerts for the name Jeff Weiler, for my name Kevin Frye. I even do it for my kids' names. And imagine my surprise when this is what popped up in my Google feed. Honda CR-V high-speed reverse run posted by none other than my genius son, Noah Frye. And you can imagine I was pretty doggone aggravated when I got this. And but I'm somewhat smart. I call him son not because he's bright. To put something up like this. I mean, does he know what line of work I'm in? So this is what I did. I screenshotted it, which is what you see, and I took some software and I downloaded it because I knew what was going to happen. Because what I did was after I did that, I posted a comment on the video, and I put, I sure hope this is not your mother's car. And mind you, that video got pulled down in about 30 seconds. Let me just real quick show you the video. It's not going to have much sound, but it'll make the point here. So let's bring this up. I'll turn it up a little bit. And it's kind of hard, but you're going to hear a clunk clunk at the end. Oh, and that's when he screwed up the car. So at the other part, and so this is what I see, and the comments are even better. Why not push that crappy transmission to its limits when I hit, 50, 60 miles an hour in reverse? I'm sure my wife's going to be really happy about this. So I'm very upset, and I put this comment, and he texts me almost immediately. Of course, he's doing this from school, and his text is this: Dad, what a coincidence. I know that looks just like Mom's car, but while I was researching some content for my YouTube channel, I came across this. I'm like, oh, here come the lies. And so my response was, we'll talk about it when I get home from work. So if you walk away with anything today, that's a great parental tactic because the guilt's going to lay in all day as they're trying to figure out what to do. Well, mind you, I just started getting a ton of text coming back and forth from him as the lies kept building and building, trying to explain this. Oh, I'm forgetting one important part about this story. I don't know if you can see my arrow here. That's our church. This is our church parking lot, and he's got my GoPro and a selfie stick sticking outside the window.
Oh my God.
So I finally sent him one final text, which was this: I know the truth, and you better pray to God you're telling me the truth when I get home. And it took about 10 more minutes, and he completely confessed that he had taken his mom's car out, driving it like a clown and screwing it up. But I had the rest of the day. I mean, I was pretty aggravated, Ellie, and I'm thinking, how am I going to punish him? Because, man, I was fired up. And I got home. Fortunately, I had all day to kind of settle down a bit. And the question is this: what was I more upset about? Was I upset that he broke Julie's car? Or was I upset that he lied? And I think we'll all agree as parents it was the lying that really made me upset. And the segue I'm going to draw from here is this: sometimes you have to work really hard to find the truth. And I have great news for you. I'm going to show you how to do that today. I am going to teach you how to set up goals and channels in your Google Analytics. But more important, I'm going to teach you how to review and interpret that data. That's where you're usually left hanging. And then I'm going to teach you to make performance-based decisions on how to create your optimal digital marketing mix. And I strongly encourage you, please post questions during the session. Eliana's going to track those, and we'll visit those at the end. I know you like that little GIF there at the bottom, don't you, using the phone and the if I could see you right now and I catch you in your smartphone, this is what's going down. I can see you through my webcam.
I just want you to know you're only 2 or 3 slides into your presentation. It's already got me rolling and laughing. So thank you so much for having me be so entertaining already. And Heather wrote in, aren't teenagers fun?
Oh, yeah. Well, he's 17 now, and I'll just give you a quick end of that story. He just got his license back on Monday after having it suspended for 60 days. We'll save that story for the end, but that was doing 89 on the highway when he got pulled over, and I know they cut him a break. He was doing faster. But
oh my gosh!
Please do tweet during the session, hashtag DealerOnWebby, and I'm going to be giving you some things to tweet, and I'm going to give you this first one. These are going to be Kevin's axioms, and an axiom is a preconceived notion that we can build upon, and this is the first one I'm going to share with you. You as a dealer are paid on performance, and therefore your vendor partner should be held to that same standard. But the truth is, most of you don't do that because you don't know how to hold them to that standard, and that's what I'm going to teach you today with some of these skills. So let's move forward, and I'm going to build upon some of the stuff you've probably seen me do in the past. Mind you, I'm going to move fairly quickly in the setup, but everything has been screenshotted, and the entire deck from today is available, so Eliana can get that to you. I want you to get into Google Analytics, select the website in question. Under Admin, you're going to hit that huge red button that says New Goal. And when you do that, we're going to go down here under the Inquiry area, and we're going to start setting up some goals. So I'm going to blow that up a little bit. I'm going to click View More for the inquiry, and that's going to bring up another screen like this. So you want to give it a name. I'm going to do a Vehicle Detail Page View. So you can call it VDP View, Vehicle Detail Page View, whatever you want. There are different ways to skin the cat on this, but simplest probably for here is going to be just doing a destination. So I'm going to have you click on Destination. And then for the destination, we're going to use regular expression, and you need to put in here the unique identifier in the URL for a VDP on your website. Now for VIN Solutions, I can tell you that's this /VD/, but it's going to be different for every website provider. If you don't know how to identify this, no problem. Just contact your website provider and say, hey, what is the unique identifier for a VDP in this case for me? Now this next box is typically ignored, and that is the value. And if you do some of the Google Analytics tutorials, they'll tell you just put $1 in there. And if you have a lot of dollars when you measure, it's good. Not too many, it's not too good. I did a pretty leading edge session on this last year in Vegas at Digital Dealer on how to do attribution value. And I'm going to encourage you to do the same thing. Many people are going to argue with you that it's not an e-commerce site, that you don't actually sell a car there. That is correct. But I'm here to tell you that this is the primary channel before they come into your dealership, and you know how you're selling them at the dealership, and we can get an idea of that value that it brings to you. So one of the things I had done in that session was I created a spreadsheet to teach you how to fill that data in. I'm not going to do a whole session on that today, but I'm going to share some of the results with you. And the big thing I'm looking at is the average gross I earn per VDP. So you are more than welcome to do one of two things. You can either build this spreadsheet and calculate it yourself. You're more than welcome to use $8.64, which is an aggregate value for new and used VDPs for the site I'm going to look at today. And as a bonus, I'll give you service form visits worth about $115. That is a benchmark. And what we're going to do in this case is we're going to take this $8.64, let me back up a page, and that's what you're going to put in this value here. I'm going to show you later how these dollar amounts are going to come back for attribution value, but it's going to help us to identify some of those other partners we have we might want to include in our digital marketing mix. All right, so I gave you the basics of how to run a goal. I'm going to encourage you to create multiple goals. Now, I've given you a list of several that I have in place, and I'm going to encourage you to do the same. But remember this, a goal without a plan is just a wish. We can make goals all day long, but if you don't have a plan of how you're going to utilize them, what sense is that? And that's what I'm going to do with you today. I'm going to show you that plan of how to utilize these. But we still have one more thing I want you to do. I want you to go under conversions to assisted conversions, and then over the right, under channel groupings, I want you to select create a custom channel grouping. This is the next part of the setup we want to do. We're going to select that. You're going to give it a name, and in this case, I'm going to call it Automotive Sales Channels. And then you're going to click this box that says Define a New Channel. When we click that, it's going to prompt you for some information. It's going to ask for a name. So in this case, I made one for Auto Trader. I'm going to do source contains, so anything coming in with autotrader.com and the address, you can give it a nice little color. I made one for cars.com. And I'm going to give you a list as well of some different ones that you can select to do the same thing. So when you do that, and here's a list of the different channels I have, remember this. Make sure referral is last in your funnel because this funnel is down. If you have it higher than that, you're going to accidentally filter out some of that traffic that you want to look at. So what I've done is I've given you some good basics and setup that we can build upon. Now this is what most of you do in Google Analytics today, and this is good. It's going to take you to the audience overview page for a time duration and give you some nice summary data. But what I'm going to challenge you to do is to take this a level further to the ABCs of Google Analytics. And notice I'm pointing down here. Let me blow that up. The ABCs are acquisition, behavior, and conversions. Where are we getting the traffic from? How does it behave? And does it convert for us to help us sell cars, service, parts, etc.? So let's take a closer look at that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to acquisition, and it should default to overview. And I'm going to look in this case, I'm on a Kia site at one of my auto malls. All right, so in this site, I have a primary portal, Weiler.com, a subportal for the auto mall, WeilerEastgate.com, in this case, the individual site, Jeff Weiler Eastgate Kia. Let's review what the sources of traffic are. Organic is free traffic. That's traffic that's coming in based upon what people search. Paid search is going to be your search engine marketing efforts. Direct traffic is going to be traffic where people directly type in your URL. They have your website bookmarked, or this is important because Google was vague about it in the past, your Google My Business traffic comes in as direct traffic. And then that last part is referral traffic, which can come from Auto Trader, Edmunds, Cars.com, whatever the case may be. Now the nice thing is I can click on these individual things and I can drill down deeper. And when I look at my organic search results, notice that the number one source says not provided. Now why is that? It didn't used to always be that way. Well, what it is now is that if someone is logged into their Google account and they search, Google doesn't share that information because of privacy. And Eliana, you might remember that's one of the things I talked about in Atlantic City when I did the session on privacy. And you can see that's quite a bit of traffic. I'm going to show you a little bit later how to see what that traffic is with a pretty quick fix in your analytics. But notice I can get some ideas of the terms of what's coming in. But I want to go back, and I'm going to encourage you to click on referral right here. And this is the first thing you want to do for your site. You want to look at your top 10 list of referrals and look for great marketing partnerships, people that are giving you traffic that's coming in. Now, in full disclosure, because this is in an auto mall, there's the Auto Trader and Cars.com traffic does not point to this, so I don't expect to see it in there. But I can see my top source is my primary portal, then my auto mall subportal. But look at the manufacturers at number 3. Our LMA is at number 1. So I can see the manufacturer and the LMA are great sources of traffic and great partnerships for me. So that's the first pattern I'm going to see. Organic search primary, my SEM works very well, then the direct and referrals coming in fourth. But what I can do is there's 3 columns next to that traffic. I want to see how good is the traffic that's coming in. And I know it's hard to see in this screen, but this red arrow is pointing to a little tiny arrow right here. If you click on these arrows, what it will do is sort. So I'm going to do that and sort by bounce rate. And if we remember what bounce rate is, basically someone's going into your site and bouncing right back out. We want to have a low bounce rate, someone that stays on the site and engages. And the first thing I can see here is that my paid search, my SEM efforts perform the best. Those people tend to stick around once they get on the site. Organic comes in second, my referral third, followed by direct. I want you to ignore display because I'm not really running display on this site. So there's only like a couple results of traffic and it's not significant. But then what I can do is I can click on these other columns which will shift to the left. And let me show you what that looks like. I clicked on behavior and I sorted it, and now let's see who spends the most time on site. I can see that my direct traffic works the best. And that makes sense. I mean, if they have you bookmarked, they're going to your business page or typing in directly, they're probably getting ready to come visit you. They're sold on your name. They want to engage with you. Organic does well, followed by paid search, followed by referral. And all these really are, for the most part, are pretty good numbers. We're just seeing that direct works the best. And then the last one I'm going to hit is conversions. And my goal one in this case is a form visit. And looky here, I'm actually seeing that when it comes to converting and filling out a form, my referral traffic is the best source for that. That's pretty important because when I look at my referrals and narrow that down, it's going to help me to find out in my marketing mix whose traffic is coming in and doing so well to convert for me. I got paid search coming in second, direct and organic doesn't do as well here. That kind of makes sense too because they might just be researching some more general information of data on the website where they don't necessarily need to call in or submit a form. All right, so this is what I want you to do. If you go up to the top under conversion, that's where that goal is selected. Now we build all those goals. You can select all of the goals or you can select an individual goal. In this case, I'm going to select a vehicle detail page view, because that's what most of us are curious about, getting eyes on vehicles. And when I do that, and I look at my traffic for this site, what it is telling me is that my best traffic to generate VDPs is coming as a result of search engine marketing, my pay-per-click, followed by organic, then referral, and then direct. What I'm looking for is performance-based metrics to help me to identify what's working and what's not as I put together that marketing mix. All right. Now remember, we started setting up those channels. The way you see it under acquisition is you go under primary dimension and you're going to select that automotive sales channel that you developed because it's going to set on a default channel grouping. I will select that, and when I do, it's going to show me for VDPs on that attribution for the channels what converts best, and holy smokes. Now, mind you, I did switch to a different site because I didn't have AutoTrader and Cars on this site. I went to a site that uses both those platforms, and look at number one is for conversion, KBB, followed by Cars.com and AutoTrader. And there's people out there that say, well, Kevin's against third parties. That can't be. That's different. Well, I'm not showing you the full picture. That's true that they convert very well, but then I need to bring up the traffic counts. And mind you, I only had 2 visits from KBB, only 6 from Cars.com, and only 5 from AutoTrader, with the bulk of them coming from direct and our pay-per-click and our Weiler brand. So while it converts well when it comes over, there's just not a lot of traffic that comes over to actually generate that. Why is that? Well, I'm going to have a little bit of fun here in a second, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch to another goal, which is a form visit. And note that once again, I see at the top, Edmunds, AutoTrader are converting very well for forms. And when I bring in the traffic, though, you can see it's just not a lot of traffic coming from those guys. Why is that? Well, I did this analogy, and I have a little music plays in the background. It's kind of hard to hear. And this is probably why NADA has no desire to have me speak after reviewing this presentation, which packed the house at Digital Dealer in Tampa. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit forward here. And, oh, you might hear a little bit of that music. I'm going to turn it down so you can hear. But here's the analogy I'm going to draw. We're going to go to a third-party nightclub. The guys are the cars, and the women are the shoppers. And the goal is that the guy is going to connect with the gal and hopefully take them back to their dealership website and close a deal, kind of like what's going on at the nightclub. So let's see how this goes down. That third-party nightclub is heavily promoted. That's where things happen if you're looking to hook up. So I'm going to show up at that third-party nightclub, and as soon as I get to the door, I'm going to find out there is a pretty steep cover charge to get into this place. It's called a subscription fee. Now, every night is ladies' night at the third-party nightclub, so the shoppers don't have to pay anything, but I got to pay a pretty penny. But you know what? I'm going to do that because I know this. Everybody tells me this is where the action goes down. So I pay the piper, I walk in the door, and of course I got to merchandise myself, right? Put on some sharp clothes, put on some nice cologne. From the automotive standpoint, I'm going to take great pictures of my cars, descriptions, and I'm going to promote that really heavily. But you want to know something? I'm going to get in a third-party nightclub, and I'm going to realize real quick, boy, there's a lot of dudes in this place, but where are all the girls, all the shoppers I'm trying to find? And I look up in this upper deck, this patio deck, the party deck, and I realize, well, that seems to be where the shoppers are at. In fact, my server keeps stopping by and keeps telling me that, you know what, if you really want to be seen at the third-party nightclub, you got to pay up to advanced feature level to be up in that party deck. And I say, you know what, I'm here to close the deal. I'm going to do that. I'm going to pay the extra money. So I pay that price. I get up there, and it's true. It's a little bit better. But then I look up even further, and there's this area that's kind of roped off, and they're getting bottle service, and it's VIP, and that seems to be where all the action is. So my server comes by again, has pushed me, yeah, you need to get up to the VIP deck, but you got to pay our Featured Plus program, which is an even higher cost. But that's what you need to do if you really want to get great results here at the third-party nightclub. So you know what? I do that, and I get up there, and there are more shoppers, but it seems like everything I do, I struggle to get them to leave the nightclub. Because you want to know something? At the third-party nightclub, it's like the Hotel California. You can check in, but you can never leave because they want to keep you there at that place, buying more drinks, buying more ads, and never leave. So I am going to give you my second axiom, which is this. If you can get them to leave the third-party nightclub, you are likely to close the deal. But the reality is the third-party nightclub doesn't want you to leave their site because that's where they make money. I got to stop there for a second. Eliana, is that analogy spot on or what?
Okay, that was amazing. So
That's also
basically,
making it a little controversial.
basically, if you can get the woman to leave the club and go home with you and score, you're saying that is akin to selling somebody a car.
I just showed it to you in the analytics, didn't I? You don't get much traffic that comes in, but if you do, it's probably going to close and convert. It's right in the top 3.
Okay, just so you know,
But so,
Darwin wrote in, he says, where is flow? You nailed it. And Bobby, hey Bobby wrote in, I am laughing so hard right now, learning through comedy. I hope you guys are tweeting this stuff out because this is gold, total gold.
yeah, it would be better if they could hear my Saturday Night Fever music. But you know, it's funny. You should bang on NADA. I am banging on them because they want you to speak, and then as soon as they saw this, I know that they didn't like that. But it's the truth. But it's not all bad. And I'm going to turn people around here a little bit because what can you learn from this? This is telling you this. You must look closely at your third-party site reporting because that's where most of the party is going on. That's where the action is going on. And that means for the most part, when you do your return on investment, you need to measure them on a standalone basis. Now, what they're going to tell you is that they have all this mystery traffic showing up at your dealership, and that's how they're going to justify their expense. The truth of the matter is when you visit the third-party nightclub, you often wake up in the morning with hardly any money in your wallet with a blazing headache wondering what the hell did I spend my money on because I got little to no return for the dollar. And that's what's going on. You know, before I jump into social media, Eliana, why don't we take a moment and take a poll?
That's a great idea. Okay, audience, you know what? We only have one poll question today, and it's on your screen now. So please get involved. Kevin wants to know the answer to this question, what's going on in your dealership and what you think is happening out there in the real world, all right? So we want to know, do you believe that the ROI of your social media efforts can be measured? Please select one of the following answers. Yes, definitely, totally. ROI can totally be measured through social media. Awesome, yeah. How about yes, but it would be very difficult. You have to take this number, and then you have to take this number, and maybe a few other numbers, and then finally compile it, and finally, yeah, maybe. Yeah, you could probably measure some ROI. How about I have no idea. I really don't know. That's why I'm here. Gosh, I really don't think so, but I have heard that you can't. And Lord knows I've heard that too. Or how about no way, not possible. There's no way to measure ROI on your social media efforts. No way. All right, so once we get a majority of those votes in, we're going to close the poll and share the results. Oh, you should see these comments that are coming in, Kevin. They loved your
I could only imagine,
your
but
nightclub.
I'm not
The
surprised.
whole thing about the nightclub was really, really funny. Okay, yeah, the poll question is still open, and audience, you are doing so good getting those votes in. Thank you so much. Votes are still coming in, and I'm curious. These are not the results I was expecting to see, audience. Very, very, very interesting. Kevin, when you're ready, I will totally close this poll and share the results. We don't have everyone who voted.
Yeah, tell me what came through. I'm curious.
All right, here we go. Let's close this poll and share the results. Okay, 55% of my very smart audience said yes, definitely.
Good.
ROI of your social media efforts can be measured. Now, 28% said yes, but they believe it would be very difficult. So right there you have over 75%, almost 80% of people. Wait, is that right? Yeah, over 80% of people who believe that, yes, ROI can be measured through social media. So that's great. 12% of today's audience says they have no idea. Only 3% said, gosh, I really don't think so, but I've heard you can't. And then there's that 1% who said, no way, not possible, ROI and social media don't mix. Kevin?
Those results are very encouraging because this has been one of the most highly disputed areas out there. I mean, typically I bring up a traffic like this, it gets so cold in the room you can get frostbite. But let's talk about social media. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at our primary portal, which is Weiler.com, and look at my highest converting channel for VDPs. It's social media. That's amazing. Now I got to show you the next thing, of course, which is a traffic count, and the traffic is not large. But one of the things I'm doing here is I've blocked out the attribution value that's coming from this social media, and I can tell you across this period it's around $500. I'm here to tell you that you can measure an ROI with social media on Google Analytics, and it's only growing. This actually is going early part of the year. We just did some Facebook marketing this past month that had a tremendous return on investment above and beyond our traditional social interaction. So I want you to know that social media is a good tool. Let's go ahead and dig in a little bit further. And what I'm going to do down here under acquisition is I'm going to click under search engine optimization queries. And notice that I'm getting all these terms now. How am I getting all these terms? And more important, I'm going to show you how they convert. Now this should make sense. Everybody tells you that your own name should convert the highest. And as you can see here, it does very well. But look what came in second. Guaranteed auto financing. No mention of Jeff Weiler in that name. Why are we getting so much traffic from that? And why is it converting well? Part of it's because I put some custom content on the site, but this is reflective of the Kia customer in this market. These type of shoppers are concerned about auto financing. Now the way I could do this and see these queries is you need to link your webmaster tools to your Google Analytics. If you don't know how to do it, just do a quick Google search and it'll walk you through how to do it. But this is the type of information it's telling me to do to optimize performance. When I'm, for example, a driving sales or digital dealer and I'm on an exhibit hall floor, I'm going to be walking around that room looking for providers that have guaranteed auto financing solutions, because that's what the behavior in my website is indicating what it wants to see. Once again, performance-based decisions. So what do we do with the information I've shown you so far? Well, number one, you want to determine which of those traffic sources are important. You want to see which of the partners are referring traffic to you, but most important, you're going to allocate and prioritize your budgets based upon what is performing. And I'm going to tell you on this site right now, based on what I've seen, I'm certainly going to focus on my search engine marketing very well, and I'm also going to lean towards some solutions that emphasize solutions on the financing concerns that my shoppers are showing. But this is going to lead to my third axiom, because I know what goes on in the industry. I'm no fool. And that is this: a gut decision is a nut decision in today's market. And I know how it works. In the dealerships, you are overworked. You are overstressed. And because of that, and you got to make these difficult decisions, you just go with the gut decision. Well, everybody else is doing this, so I guess I'll do the same thing. I'm here to tell you, in today's market, it's economics 101. It's about efficiency. If you're going to make these type of sloppy gut decisions, you're going to be one of those dealers that we're buying and turning around and making profitable. So the good news is today you're in this presentation and you're going to get away from that pattern. Let's look at behavior. We get the traffic in, but what does it do in your site? And once again, it defaults to overview, and we can see the top pages that they're coming in and visiting. I'm going to blow that up a little bit. And if you don't recall, your top page is almost always going to be the slash, should be. That's your home page. Then, of course, in this case, mobile, because this is not a responsive site. And then I'm going to see searches for new and used inventory. That's all what you should expect to see. But look what number 5 is: bad credit car financing. Well, how about that? That fits in that pattern again. They're looking for guaranteed financing, bad credit financing. These are the patterns that I want to see. What is this telling me? Maybe I should look at a special financing marketing solution when I put together my marketing mix based upon this dealership. If I select content drill down, I apologize, I got cut off a little bit. It's going to show me the top pages that they're visiting in there for content. And note that I can see, in this case, the top 3 Kia vehicles they're searching for. Hey, I got news for you. When you get that pretty report from the website provider about here's the list of the top cars, they're just pulling it from analytics. This is the type of information you want when, for example, you're ordering your inventory, but on the marketing side, when you're building your specials, maybe your top 3 rotators should be about the Optima, the Sportage, and the Soul on your website. Let's get into C, which is conversions. We'll click on Overview, and it's going to give you a nice summary of all the goals you put together. And I've got one in here that's a 0 because we quit using that tool. But without looking too closely at that, I'm going to set you up. If you're using Black Book Value Your Trade and Credit Score Estimator tool, which one of those gets used most often? And of course, you're going to tell me 9 times out of 10 it's Value Your Trade. But look on this site. It's credit score estimator. Once again, we're seeing that behavior on this Kia site in this market that I have people concerned about their credit, bad credit, getting guaranteed financing, which is telling me I want to emphasize on those partnerships and solutions on my website. All right, so that's getting the attribution. This is where we've really led in the industry, and what you need to do is under channel groupings, we're going to go to assisted conversions under multi-channel funnels, select your custom channel that you developed, and then we're going to look for the results. This is what we're trying to do, because I am not anti-third party. I hate it when people twist my words. In fact, I'm quite the opposite. What happens is that we give everything last click attribution. Whatever the last place the person went to, we give full credit for the sale. But it's like basketball. It's not just the guy that made the basket. He might have had two people pass to him before he made the basket, and they had value in that conversion. We want to know who that is. Attribution helps us to see that, whether they're 2 steps back, 5 steps back, 10 steps back. We can track that behavior, and more important, because we took the time to put some dollar amounts on the value, we get an idea of where we're getting assists. So let's take a closer look. And what I've done is I've brought it up for this one of our sites that's using AutoTrader and cars to see the type of value I'm getting. I'm looking here under assisted conversion value. And note that under my search engine marketing, there's an additional $2,200 worth of traffic that I'm not giving credit my final ROI because it was more than one step back. Lot Links is bringing me some money. Cars.com, $57, and AutoTrader, $422. All right, stop right here, because some of you are going to say, well, then Kevin Sands AutoTrader is better than Cars.com. If you saw me present this nationally on stage, I actually showed examples where Cars.com is better than AutoTrader. This is what you have to walk away with. You have to do this yourself for your site because it's different based upon your brand, your location, and your market to the results you're going to get. But what's most important is we're trying to get a picture of who's performing for us because I want to include them in my marketing mix, even if they're more than one step back. I don't want to exclude them. Now, mind you, everyone's being measured the same here. And I'm not picking on Cars.com in this case, but if they come in and said, you know what, Kevin, you're missing all this other traffic we're giving you. Hey, the same rules here apply to everyone else. And let's say that I'm only showing 10% of their traffic correctly. Let's say I missed 10 times. If I multiply that by 10, $570, is that going to make that much additional difference? In this case, most likely not. And once again, that goes back to that same argument. You need to measure them on a standalone basis. What do we do with these numbers? You take this assist value, you add it to your return on investment calculations to get a better picture on who's performing and who's not. Is it going to be perfect? Of course not. But you're going to make an educated, performance-driven decision on what that best marketing solution is going to be for you. So listen, I know why everybody shows up to these type of sessions, because you're expecting me today to give you this perfect little pie chart that says put 25% of your money in SEM, 20% in SEO, 10% in admins, whatever the case may be. And I got news for you. That doesn't exist. If someone's selling it to you, they're full of baloney, because that mix is different for every one of you. You all have different sized budgets, different sized pies of what you can do. This is what I'm going to tell you to do. You need to set your priorities based upon your return on investment, because you are in the profitability business. You're in the business to sell cars. When you look at your ROI, you're going to find the same results across the board. Your dealership website is going to have your highest return on investment, lowest cost lead, highest gross per unit, and easiest to close. Second is going to be your manufacturer site. And then finally is going to be third party. Those tend to be your most expensive leads, your most expensive cost per sale, and your lowest gross per unit because of the higher competition around those. Does that mean you do not use them? Absolutely not. But when you prioritize and balance your budget, that's what's going to come into that mix, which leads into my fourth axiom. Do not fish in someone else's pond until you are dominating yours. This is the most common mistake I run into. If you're going to go out and spend, your principal spends millions of dollars to buy a dealership and they're assigned a primary marketing area, that is your number one job, is to absolutely, unequivocally dominate your own primary marketing area. You shouldn't be doing anything else outside of that until you have that nailed down first. That also ties into why your dealership website is so important. You'll find folks that say, but Kevin, the cars aren't sold at your dealership website. It's about the people showing up at your dealership. Think about this. How many people do you really think show up physically at your dealership without showing up at your dealership website first? I mean, be real. They've at least gone there for hours and directions, if not to double check you had the inventory they're looking for. I'm telling you, search engine marketing works very well across the board. And it makes sense. If we know that our shoppers are at 20 to 25 sites on average, if you think you can have a presence on every one of those sites and you're being told that, those are pipe dreams. And you can tweet this too. I can tell you, ideals often clash with reality. Ideals often clash with reality. And the truth of the matter is a single point dealer out there does not begin to have the budget to be at all of these different third-party sites. The person trying to sell you that's going to tell you that. But if you're in the dealership world, performance-based, we can't always do that. We don't have a big enough pie. Search engine marketing works because this is where almost everyone begins that search as they find those 20 sites. I can put all my eggs in one basket and pick one of those third-party sites, or I can be right where they're doing the search, and that's why SEM works well. But what about conquest SEM? I have some differing views on this too, and I'm going to tell you I don't think you should be in that, and I'll tell you why. It's incredibly expensive. Do you realize if you're a Toyota dealer trying to steal Honda shoppers, and they're searching for the Accord and you're putting up an ad on your Camry, not many people are going to click through on that. And Google knows that, and they're in the business to make money too. They're going to lower that relevance score, jack up the cost per click, and your conquest campaigns are going to be incredibly expensive. I'm here to tell you, leave the conquesting to the tier 1 level of spending. Your manufacturers that have hundreds of millions of dollars to run Super Bowl commercials to pull those buyers over. You can even reach in a tier 2. But for the most part, I'm going to tell you as a dealer, I wouldn't do conquest. It just doesn't have great return for your spend. On your manufacturer, I've got great news. I've done this a long time. Every year, the amount of stuff we can co-op with our manufacturers is great, and I want you to take advantage of it. The other thing is, many of these solutions you can leverage off their multi-million-dollar spends as a single point and get better return for your dollar. And then finally, when it comes to the third parties, I encourage you to ask yourself this question first. Is your dealership optimally working your own leads? Because if you're not doing a good job now working your own leads, and you give them third-party leads, which are already harder to close, harder to make gross on, you're just throwing your money away. In fact, it's an unfair partnership with your third-party provider when you tell them things aren't working when the reality is it's your own process. If that is the case, then ask yourself this. Is it better to take that money to spend on training for your people and how to best work those leads rather than just jumping into third party? Maybe you need to do that first and then round out your mix with third-party marketing solutions. So what about the future? How does this all come together? I am really big at looking at this stuff, and I'm going to tell you I know where it's going, because imagine this. You place an ad out there online in the digital world. People interact with that and click through, and it goes to a website that's integrated on the same platform where you can observe their behavior and everything they do. And then that behavior transmits to your CRM tool, along with the form, a phone call, even if they didn't submit those, if you just up them in the CRM and we can match back on their IP address. And that's integrated as well, and I can see all their behavior as we sell them the car, make the sale, and then that integrates with your DMS. So now I have the exact profitability of the deal that works all the way back upwards to the chain, and I have an exact ROI on who's performing and who's not. And I can start adding back in service, parts, all that follow-on stuff. And I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to rock the world of our industry. And if you don't think this is happening, take a close look out there. DealerTrack buys Dealer.com. Cox Automotive buys DealerTrack. They're getting all the tools to put into place for that full integrated solution. This is big stuff. But many of you are going to say this, Kevin, I've already got a marketing partner that looks at all of this stuff for me. Why should I have to get into analytics and do this stuff myself? And that's going to lead into my fifth axiom today. You cannot outsource someone to give a shit. I'm sorry to shake you up, but that's the reality. The truth is nobody is going to care more about your own performance than yourself. And I've got great partners too, but you have to be accountable for everything you're doing. You like that, Eliana?
I just think that's probably the most tweetable thing you've said today, sir. Is everyone tweeting this out today?
Please use the $sign so I don't get in a lot of trouble here. My goal today, and I mean this sincerely, is I hope I have done enough and shown you enough to motivate you to get involved and do this yourself rather than just rely completely on someone's word. There is a big fiasco going on right now with a lot of these email conquest campaigns that Brian Pash is leading the charge on. And by golly, if you just did some of this basic Google Analytics work, you wouldn't get taken. But let me wrap up my story here. I was talking about my son. Many of you are wondering, was that truly his gravestone? Did Kevin kill him when he got home from work that day? I didn't. But I did line up some great punishment because we bought 34 acres. It had this old house. It was in horrible shape. And when we stripped it down, you can see in this picture, we actually had an old log cabin from the 1820s underneath. And let me tell you, back in the day, they didn't pour foundations. They used stacked rock. I mean, big, huge stone to build the foundation and the cellar. And for the next 6 to 8 weeks, I brought Fort Leavenworth back to my son. And we pulled out all that rock by hand. It was back-breaking work. But by golly, I was going to teach him a lesson. And this picture is just from last week. All that stone is now stone walkways. It is stacked for the new foundation house. I have a huge stone patio back there. Don't feel too bad for him. I did get him a nice used truck on his 17th birthday. And yes, he did get caught speeding doing 89, had his license taken away for 60 days, but he seems to be back on the straight and narrow today. God bless all of you that have teenagers up and coming. You're going to have so much fun, and I haven't got my new insurance bill yet. So, wrapping up, here's your suggested resources. Most of what I learned was from the School of Hard Knocks. I recommend you go to YouTube. There's lots of great Google Analytics tutorials. That's what I did. I'm here to tell you that Brian Pash put together a phenomenal course on using Google Analytics for automotive. And I did the whole thing with him as a review and an audit, and even though I knew a lot of it myself, the insight and perspective I got from a different person was invaluable. So I think that's great. And you can also get on Amazon. Avinash Kaushik has some great books. You've probably seen him speaking on the national circuit. And here's your action items. It's what I gave you today. Set up your goals and your channels. Please, you got to wait at least 30 days. Don't call me tomorrow and say, Kevin, I don't have any data. You got to wait at least 30 days to start getting significant, and then go and interpret it the way I showed you alongside of your ROI and make smart, educated decisions on how to optimize your marketing mix. I want to thank everybody out there today that took some time to spend with me and Eliana. I'd like to turn it back over to Eliana for questions, and I certainly hope that helped everybody.
That was awesome. Just awesome. That was so good. And it was entertaining on top of it. That was so great. Kevin, I just love webinaring with you. All right, audience, you heard the man. We're ready for Q&A. Do you have a question for the one and only Kevin Frye? Because we want to help you optimize your marketing with Google Analytics. Now, he did a very, very good step-by-step instructional. But if you have any further questions or anything else that you want to query K Frye about, now's a great time to get those questions in. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to do that, because before we get to those questions, we got some fun to take care of. Now, I know you couldn't play any of that other music before during the nightclub scene, but do you have any like Jeopardy music or any nice...
I don't. I mean, I should have had the theme to Scooby-Doo.
Oh, the theme for Scooby Doo. Okay, so it's that time. If you missed it at the beginning of the webinar, well, I announced that our good friend Kevin Frye is giving away an awesome prize today on the webinar. One of you lucky webinar attendees is going to win this sweet vintage Scooby-Doo lunchbox. This is, it's totally legit vintage. I mean, it's from 1973, and it is perfect to bring all your Scooby snacks with you to work. You're definitely going to want this, all right? All you have to do is answer a simple question about the presentation. Actually, it's not even about the presentation, all right? He said he has a question for you. So get ready, get to your keyboards, and guess what? I even asked him if the vendors on the call wanted to be in on this, and he said, yeah, he's opening it up to everyone. Anyone who likes Scooby-Doo, this is for you, all right?
They better be quick on the Google because it's a little tricky.
Now, you might know the answer to this, but if you don't, you might have to Google this answer. No, it does not come with Scooby snacks. Or does it? Kevin, does it come with Scooby snacks?
What do you think I'm eating for lunch right now? The Scooby snacks are mine. Be happy with the lunchbox.
Somebody also asked if it comes with the rust. All right, here we go. All right, good luck, everyone. I wish you the best. Here we go. In the cartoon series Scooby-Doo, what was the name of the character that wore the glasses? We're looking for the first and the last name. The first and the last name. Yes, you might have to Google it. And yes, she has a last name. Oh, we have a winner. Casey McAvoy has the right answer. Casey McAvoy, I'm writing your name down. Casey McAvoy, you are our winner today. Of course, the answer was Velma Dinkley. Casey McAvoy, congratulations. And thank you, everyone, for playing along. I hope you had fun. Velma Dinkley, I know. You had to be quick on the Google, right? All right, Velma Dinkley was the answer. Casey McAvoy, I need you to write on in. Let me know where you're from, who you're with, and of course I also need a mailing address so we can send this oh-so-sweet prize out to you right away. He is in Kansas with the Lewis Automotive Group. Casey McAvoy from the Lewis Automotive Group, you are our winner today. Congratulations. And audience, don't you worry about a thing. Guess what? We give away super cool prizes every week at every single one of our webinars. Who knows? Maybe the next DealerOn webinar will be your chance to win, all right? So come on back for another DealerOn webinar, and that could be your lucky day. So thank you, everyone, for playing along. Of course, congratulations to Casey McAvoy. And we got to thank our good friend Kevin Frye for always bringing the fun and bringing the funk, for his incredible generosity. Hey, there he is. Hope everyone can see Kevin on the webcam now. Awesome.
Congrats, Casey. It's all yours.
All yours.
The rust is from, I might have packed a beer that leaked out a little bit, but hey, it's legit. It's good stuff here.
I love it. All right, so we are going to scroll on up and get to our questions. Audience, if you have any questions, send them on in, okay? All right, your first question, Kevin, comes from Heather. Heather wrote in, we seem to have a lot of odd-named sites showing when we look at our referral traffic that I have a hard time tracking. Is this normal?
It is, and there's a good chance you're probably getting some bot traffic in there. I did a full presentation on this at Digital Dealer last month. The simplest thing I'm going to encourage you to do is look at the name in your analytics, Google the name, but don't click on the link. Just put what is and then the name of the site, and it will often tell you what it is. Write down a list of what those sites are, and then you can build a filter in your analytics to filter those out. There is a nice little section that you can now click in the back end of your analytics where Google will apply filters for you that will probably take out about 75–80% of that traffic. Once you do that, you're going to clean up and get a much better picture. Maybe that'll be a future webinar with DealerOn, because it takes a little bit of time to walk through step by step, but it's not that difficult.
Heather, good luck. Let me know if you have any follow-up questions, all right? All right, Kevin, your next question comes to you from Matt. Matt says, Kevin, what's a good and bad bounce rate percentage now? I've seen a big change in some of my sites since mobile sites got so big. When people are landing on our mobile sites, the click-to-call is skewing the bounce more than it did a few years ago. That's a great question, Kevin. I mean, is bounce rate something that we really still need to be so concerned with?
You just got to look at everything surrounding it. So people could argue all day long about this, but I'll give you a great example. Weiler.com, our primary portal, has a high bounce, and that actually is good because what we're doing is they go to the primary portal to bounce out and go to one of our other sites almost immediately. So we did our job at that point. We directed them to the brand or the dealership they wanted to see. Now, on the other hand, if I'm directly at the dealership that they want to shop on and they're bouncing at a pretty high rate, then I'm going to have some concerns. Now, one of the things you have to be careful of, too, is that if somebody goes into a page and goes immediately out, there's zero time on site associated with that. And then you have to use something called events, and it used to be very difficult. Your website provider would have to code that in. There is a new tool, write this down, called Google Tag Manager. I'm going to be talking about that next year, but you can essentially program in events. For example, on a VDP, you might, from lot links is a great example, it'll go in, they'll look at pictures, they might look at video, they might chat, do all these things where they don't go to a new URL, and you show zero time on site and think it didn't do well and a bad bounce rate. In reality, it might be a lot better than you think. So I say with bounce rate, look at what site you're on, what page, and if it's coming to like a VDP or something, you're probably going to have to do what's called Google Events. I hope that wasn't too complex. I've just been doing it for a while.
Well, I'll tell you what, if it is, Matt, you write on in and you let us know if you have any further questions, okay? Thank you so much for the great question. All right. Oh, Bill. Ooh, Bill says, I have to cut out, but I'm looking forward to the recording. So far, this is one of the most useful webinars ever presented. Kudos. Oh, he loved it.
Thanks, Bill.
All right. Darwin, now this was interesting because while you were going through your step-by-step, Darwin wrote in, he's like, so this is like Moneyball for the auto industry.
Jim Flynn did a phenomenal job with Moneyball and trying to lay out the basic ingredients of a marketing mix, but I think he'll be the first to tell you as well as me. He's a great friend. I have so much respect for Jim. It always depends on your individual dealership, your market, and the size of the budget that you have available for your spend.
Really? Okay, great. Actually, he's done that Moneyball webinar here with me, and it was really fascinating. It was fascinating. Darwin, thank you so much for the comment. All right, next. Next, I don't know if it's really a question, but this one comes in from John, and he says, so what we're actually measuring is the customer's behavior. When you said we were measuring the ROI of social media.
That's one element. The acquisition is where is the traffic coming from, and then once it comes in, that's when you're going to look at behavior and conversion. And think about it from this analogy. If you have a big direct mail campaign and you're giving away stadium blankets, if they're just coming in and getting a stadium blanket and leaving, yeah, you attracted the traffic, but was that really successful? But if they come in, they got this stadium blanket, they started looking at cars, and you're selling cars to these people, which was your goal, based upon the behavior and the conversion, you know that that's good traffic that you accepted. So that's where those three steps, the ABCs, come in: acquisition, behavior, and conversion.
Love it. John, thank you so much for your comment. All right, we got some more comments coming in too. All right, next comes in from Jay. He says, please recommend conversion values for 1, VDP page visits, 2, directions contact us visits, and 3, special page visit, and 4, sales form visit. Okay, so he wants to know what conversions should he be looking for when it comes to those 4 items?
I'm going to give you a mixed answer. I'm going to be very candid. Number 1, I'm not giving away all my secret sauce today, folks. I gave you some screenshots where you can see what's going on. And any of us in this business that are in the know that holds their conversion numbers near and dear. With all that said, I can tell you, even amongst, I'm in a huge group, top 50, top 1% of all dealers out there, you're going to see mixed performance amongst the group because it's like real estate, right? Location, location, location. Some stores, especially if they're between 2 metropolitan areas, you're not going to begin to see as much conversion. And it's not that you're doing a poor job, because I can have that same exact site, the same exact tools at a better location, it outperforms it. So even with what you're asking for, it's hard to give you a benchmark conversion to what works well. My suggestion to you is measure out what you currently got and see if you can improve against that by the new additions you're putting in your marketing mix. And you'll also see the opposite. If it starts going the other direction, then you know maybe something you added's not working well.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you so much for the great question, Jay. We have a lot of great questions still to get to, so if I didn't read your question yet, hang on. We're getting to it very shortly, okay? Next, actually, it's not a question, but Bobby wrote in and said, hey, that PCG course that you were talking about earlier, about Google Analytics, Bobby says it goes on sale for only $60 on November 30th. Ooh, that's nice.
Wait, can you check Bobby's IP address? It kind of sounds like Brian Pash logged into today's webinar.
No, that's Bobby Heron who wrote in. But
hey,
thank
I
you
love
so
Bobby
much.
Heron, and she's spot on. That course is phenomenal for anybody trying to get in and learn more in depth about this. And that, nice thing, you can do it at your own pace. So Brian Pash has been a pioneer in this industry. I met him all the way back, me and him doing cash for clunkers, and he's had my admiration and respect ever since. So kudos to Brian Pash.
Bobby wrote in. She said, no, it's definitely me, and I love that course. So she loved that you told everyone else about that course, too. It is a wonderful course. He has a lot of great courses. So I would definitely hop on that if it's going for on sale at the end of this month. Thank you so much for that, Bobby.
Hey, kudos to DealerOn for allowing me to promote that other product. So, I mean, you guys are not intimidated to share other great platforms. So
We're just here to help all dealers, and Brian Pash is no stranger to this show. He's been on several times. I love webinaring with him as well. So, Brian, if you're out there, call me. All right. All right, next question comes to you from Angie. Angie says, would you explain how to allocate more money values to the goals again? If we don't have any data to rely on, how should we start? Ooh, good question, Angie.
So that was like the Ark of the Covenant, putting that together. And so when I brought that to the industry, how I worked on it, I mean, it was a lot of work. And that was that spreadsheet I gave you in the beginning to try and figure out a way to put a value on there. You are more than welcome to use the dollar amount I gave you. I think it was $8.64. I can tell you there's not a huge range in there. So if you don't want to do the work to get to the exact dollar for your store, it doesn't matter. Get in the ballpark, and it's going to give you enough of a value to make a better decision. It's not going to be down to the penny, I promise you. But rather than making a gut decision, you're making a performance-based decision. That's what I'm trying to share with you. If you want to reach out to me via email, I can try and walk you through some of the steps to build that spreadsheet for yourself and get a more specific value to put into your goals.
Thank you so much, Angie. Hey, seriously, I love this dude, so if you ever get an opportunity to meet him at an upcoming conference and talk to him directly and see if he can help you out, or email him, please do so, because he is seriously one of the coolest, nicest guys you'll ever meet in the auto industry. Good luck, Angie. Wishing you the best. Okay, Jennifer wrote in, Eliana, I got interrupted a few times in this webinar. Do you still send the deck and the video recording for all of these, or do I need to request it? Jennifer, you have the same question that a lot of people on my webinars have, and don't worry, I got you covered. First of all, yes, we're recording this right now. I will be emailing you the link to the recording later on today. It's also going to be posted online within 24 hours. Just go to dealeron.com/webinars, and you can find today's recording will be there later on this evening. Now, as for the deck, click on Handouts in the GoToWebinar interface. There's a little plus sign next to where it says Handouts, and in there you will find the slide deck that Kevin Frye just shared with us. And you can download it immediately and directly. Hope that helps you out. Thank you so much for writing on in. Okay, next question comes to, it's not really a question, it's from Jay. Jay's here to help you out, Kevin. He says, Kevin, you should put a moto safety tracker on your boys' truck. I have two boys, 16 and 17 years old, and I track them both. Warning, it's like listening to sales calls in your dealership reviewing their driving report card on a daily basis. There you go. It's called moto
Well, I have enough
safety.
stress in my life, Jay, to do that. I got to tell you, it's a manual truck. It's a 5-speed Ford Ranger. When I gave it to him, I said, sir, are you going to take this 55 miles an hour in reverse? And his answer was, no, this is my car. Great. Joy.
Thank you so much. That's great. Thank you for helping us out over here, because I have a boy, but he is not a teenager yet, and that scares me. All right, thank you so much for that. Let's keep going. We have some more great questions coming at you, like this one from Bruce. He says, any metrics or thoughts on YouTube video pre-roll conquest ads? Now, I know you said leave the conquest to the OEMs, Kevin, but when it comes to metrics or thoughts on video pre-roll on YouTube, what do you have for Bruce?
I will just share this. My greatest success on pre-roll has been with TrueView from more of a branding perspective. So think about this. If you know the first 4 seconds are free, are going to be seen every time, you should be front-loading your primary message for the first 4 seconds of that video, and I'm telling you, across a year, you're going to get millions of free views. If you're looking for an inexpensive way to brand, it doesn't get any better than that. Outside of that, I mean, we've done some conquesting in the past, and mind you, we're huge. Out of 18,000 dealers, we're like number 30-something, and we have a much bigger budget than most of you out there. I'm telling you, from a return on investment standpoint, your money is better spent for profitability in some other platforms than conquest. Now, if you're doing it, a grassroots campaign at no expense and putting up videos, hey, all to you, that's another story. But if you're paying someone to do it, mind you, most of these guys are paid on percentage commission. So when you ask them, should I do conquest, they're going to say, oh, yeah, you should.
Yeah,
because you're going to be spending a lot of money, and they're going to be making a lot of money.
I got it. All right, Bruce, thank you so much for the great question. We really appreciate it. Great answer, Kev. All right, this next one comes from Joey. Joey, where have you been, dude? I'm so glad you're here today. He only shows up for the really good ones, apparently. Right, Joey? All right, here we go. Joey says, can you create VDP goals efficiently in tiers, like 1 only, up to 5, 5 to 10, over 10, etc., without creating a separate goal for each tier?
I don't believe so, and the problem is you're limited on how many goals you can have within analytics. I would encourage you to get deeper into Google Tag Manager and how you can set up events yourself now, the different options in there. There are quite a few. That's probably going to be your answer. And I'm telling you, from my standpoint, I'm still learning Google Tag Manager. We're using it quite a bit. We got a long way to go, but your answer is probably going to lie within that.
All right, Joey, thank you so much for the question. Nice to see your name on my screen. Come back for some more DealerOn webinars. You hear? All right, we got the last handful of questions here, like this one from Jesse. He says, you mentioned goal assist. What exactly does assisted conversions mean?
So what we're trying to look at is those players that are bringing in traffic. For example, let's say someone went to cars.com. They went to 2 other places before they landed on your website. We can start tracking that behavior coming in. And that's what you want to know, because otherwise you're doing what's called last click. Unless they directly click to you, they're not getting any credit. Now, when I spoke on this, I was very forward because I already know what the arguments are going to be. And so they said, well, what if someone starts out on their PC and then they go to their tablet, then they go to their smartphone, or they delete their cookies? You're not going to be able to track that. That's true. You're not going to be able to get 100% of that traffic. And that's why I talked about, if I miss 90% of traffic on that one cars.com case and multiply that number times 10, was it still a significantly different amount? It wasn't in that case, but what it's doing is giving you a better picture of the people that are playing a role in that path to your website. I think Sean Stapleton, he's doing a great presentation he's been talking about called The Changing Road to the Sale. And the truth is, it's not like this same funnel all the time now. They're hitting a multitude of websites before they hit you. And our challenge when we do the attribution is we're trying to give credit to those different providers that we're utilizing that are coming in when we do our ROI report. Because if you do a traditional return on investment report, you're going to be knocking those guys out of consideration unless you're trying to put some attribution in. So it's not a perfect tool, but by golly, it's not a gut decision. You're making a performance-based decision with some analytics.
Thank you so much. Great answer. Jesse, thank you so much. If you have a follow-up question, hey, write it on in. We're going to be closing out this webinar pretty soon. All right, Kevin, your next question comes to you from Michael. He says, okay, so conquesting is a no-no if you don't own your area, but what do you think about geo-targeting by zip codes? And Kevin, do you do geo-targeting?
We do, obviously we do some pretty close targeting with our efforts. If we're talking about geofencing, I'm not necessarily a huge fan. And think about this from a common sense standpoint. If I'm trying to conquest a Toyota customer, let's say down the street, and it does not pop an ad, geofenced ad in their phone till they're at that dealership, I've already lost that battle. I lost them way back before they decided to choose that dealership. What person in their right mind is going to pull in that Toyota dealer and go, oh my God, I see this ad, I got to split right now and drive down the street? My opinion, I've seen LMAs that are big on this. It's another great spin if someone's trying to earn commission, but if you're trying to geofence to conquest, you probably already lost the battle. You're going to have to catch them further up in the research path to win that battle.
All right, Michael, thank you so much for the great question. That was a really great question. I wanted to know that too, actually. All right, just a few more questions for you, Kevin, and then we'll close out the show. Oh, Michael says, all right, thank you. Rick wrote in, and he says, do you consider map page views a conversion or a certain amount of time on a VDP a conversion, like greater than 30 seconds on a VDP?
Two answers, yes. You know what? When I run my attribution, because this is the other thing I do in my presentation, they thought I just did VDPs when I did the dollar amount. I give attribution. I mean, if they so much as look at my service page, I'm giving them a dollar amount. I'm doing everything I can to give a fair shake to everyone out there, including map page views. So yeah, I do include that in there. What was the last part of that question again, Eliana?
A certain amount of time on a VDP. Do you consider that a conversion?
You got to be really careful with that, and that's where like lot lengths gets pushed out a lot of times. Remember, if they go into the VDP from the aggregator site and then bounce right back out, the time on site is going to be 0. They need to visit another page in your website to generate that. The only way to fix that to get the right picture is with events. And in fact, if you install Google Tag Manager, you get the code, have your website provider install it one time, lot lengths will actually put the code in for you. And that's where you're going to see the true time on site if they're engaging on that VDP. In other words, they're looking at pictures, looking at videos, they're chatting, any of those things that don't create a new unique URL. So that's what I'm saying. You got to be careful on that stuff because you might eliminate people that are actually performing for you.
Okay. Rick, thank you so much for the great question. Okay, we have a two-part question from Martin. Hey, Martin. It's so nice to see your name on my screen again. Okay, Martin wrote in, what is the #1 goal on a geofencing campaign? And then he has a second question, but I'll start you off with that one.
Well, my gut feeling for someone doing geofencing when they're doing it is they're trying to conquest someone. I mean, unless you're trying to if you're geofencing your own dealership, it's going to depend on the goal of your marketing campaign. I don't know what your goal is, but if I'm trying to steal from someone, that's the conquest, which I think is ineffective with geofencing, even though there's people that are big fans of that. I think it's silly. Now, if I'm trying to do it in my own area and pop up specials, whatever the case, it depends on what your message or your goal is. I really don't, I mean, it's going to depend what you're trying to do. I don't know.
Okay, got it. And then Martin's second question was, what do you anticipate for the bounce rate to be at when you design and launch a new website, and for what period of time?
Once again, it's going to depend on the page, what kind of site. First off, you know, I'm glad you brought that back up. Someone was talking about mobile. Your bounce rates should be higher on mobile because it's going to be a quicker, simpler experience, and I'm hoping I can take them directly to a click-to-call or directly to the directions, whatever they have, to what they're looking for in a smart device. They're not usually looking to research all day in this thing. Outside of that, once again, if you're on a primary portal site for multiple sites, then you're going to have a higher bounce rate, and you should expect that. In fact, you're going to be kind of looking for that, knowing you're getting them quickly to what you want them to go to. In the same respect, if you're just a strictly one-point dealer site, I'm going to say I want to be like 30 in the 30s, no higher than that on my bounce rate.
Right. And for what period of time? How much slack do you give to a new website design, website launch?
Oh, the try and evaluate. Oh, geez. That's a loaded question, too. If you just started a brand new website, I'm going to tell you now, one of the most basic things in your Google and your search and everything is you really need about 12 months for that domain to be considered established and relevant by Google. So if it's brand smoking new, you're going to have to give it some time. Now,
What
if
you
you
mean?
have
So if they're
transferred it,
you're saying if they're using a URL that's never been used before and doesn't have any
that's
Google
correct.
juice, right?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But if I just transferred a domain and I just switched to a new platform, I'm going to run myself personally for a website at least 6 months. And you've got to build up some performance.
And Martin said, perfect, that answered my question. Martin, thank you so much. All right, last question, Kay Frye, comes in from Joshua. Hey, Josh. He says, I didn't get to write down some of the learning tools from the slide. What was your recommendation for the book from Amazon?
It's Avinash and Kaushik. I might have, let me see if I got it in my cabinet. Oh, my assistant has it right now. But yeah, Avinash. Can I back up the slide and go to it real quick? Let's
Sure
see that.
can. Let's do that.
Whoop, I had
Just
it
for
right
you,
there.
Josh. Just
Right
for
here.
you.
Right there at the bottom. So he has several books, and they're all pretty good. But I mean, you can get he's got a couple huge like Google Analytics Bibles that you can get into, and then just highlight them up and do a chapter each day as part of your professional reading.
Oh, that is a difficult name. Yeah, there's no wonder that you didn't know how to spell that. All right, Joshua, I hope that helps you out. And yeah, let's close out this show. Kevin Frye. Man, I love having you on my show. We had so much great Twitter happening also during the show. So thank you so much, audience, for tweeting out some awesomeness today. We hope you enjoyed this hour of awesomeness with the one and only Kevin Frye. He's probably going to be at NADA coming up in April, right?
I will be there, but apparently I won't be speaking because my third-party analogy.
I liked it. I know my audience liked it, so.
That's good. Dealers must not like it. They pack the room, but apparently it's not the politically correct message today, folks.
It's still early. It's still early. We have some time, right? Let's start a Twitter campaign. All right, audience, you tell NADA that we need Kay Frye over at NADA. All right, Kevin, thank you so much. Entertaining, wonderful, funny, smart as heck. And so was your presentation. Great presentation. Thank you so much. Hopefully, I'll see you soon and love to get you back on the show as quickly as I can, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, so I want to remind the audience that a link to download a copy of this webinar recording is going to be emailed to you in a few hours. Please feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues. And today's webinar is also going to be posted online within 24 hours. So go to DealerOn.com/webinars, and there you can view our upcoming webinar schedule or access any of our past webinars. And when this webinar concludes in just a moment, you're going to receive a short survey. Please fill it out. We want to know what you thought of Kevin's presentation today. Did you love it? Yes, I know you did. So let us know. It's a short 6-question survey, and we want to know what you thought. So today we're going to randomly select a couple of people from all those completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. And yeah, next Thursday is Thanksgiving. Now, because of the holiday next Thursday, we will not have a DealerOn webinar. So invitations will be going out a week from tomorrow for our next webinar. And it's a big one, go mobile or go home. What Google and car buyers need from your website. Fact, dealers can no longer afford a mediocre mobile website. Dealers have been hearing that they need to focus on mobile shoppers or their competitors will bury them. However, 85% of dealer sites still get a failing score on Google's mobile site speed test. Google announced that when it comes to local search, mobile has actually surpassed desktop usage earlier this year, and the mobile revolution shows no signs of slowing down. It's become so big that Google changed their algorithm to penalize websites that aren't mobile friendly. Is your dealership website mobile friendly? Are you sure? In this can't miss presentation, Michael DeVito is going to teach you how to get your mobile site optimized for car shoppers and Google. Attendees of this fast-paced 1-hour webinar is going to learn how to identify and fix the mobile issues Google has with your website, how to optimize your website for mobile shoppers and increase showroom traffic and sales, why speed is critical for mobile sites, how to speed up your site, and why Google hates slow sites. It's time to start paying more attention to mobile. If you want the inside scoop on what Google and car buyers need from your website, you can't afford to miss this presentation. Register now, and don't forget, DealerOn's weekly webinars are held Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific. And we have some really great webinar subjects planned to close out 2015. But if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding these webinars and our topics, hey, contact me directly. I love hearing from you. My name is Eliana Raggio. Contact me. I'm everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Google+. I'm on all the automotive social networks. Or just email me. I'm at eliana@dealeron.com. Thank you all so very much for spending this time with us today, and I hope to see you all on another webinar in our continuing education series. And on behalf of Kevin Frye and the entire staff at DealerOn, I want to wish everyone a happy and safe and wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. We'll catch up to you on the flip side. Take care.